Hey y'all, on today's podcast, we help Evan overcome her fear of charging for her products.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now, we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Super excited, super pumped. Cannot wait to talk to another member of the Flip Your Life community today about growing and building their online business so that they can find the freedom they want in their life. Our guest today is Evan Garrapy. Evan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
And we already changed Evan's life before the show even started. Because I asked Evan before we got going, I said, how do you say your last name? And she said, it's really hard. It's Garrapy. And I said, oh, it's like therapy, but Garrapy. And she's like, I've never thought of that.
All right. So
helpful.
Yes, we'll send you our bill for that later, right?
Right, exactly. That was worth the call. Worth the call.
So, all right. Well, we are very, very happy to have you on the show today. And I'm really, really interested in what you do. So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us about you, your background, and about the website that you started.
Yeah, well, in 2007, after my grandmother passed away, my dad's mom, I got really interested in researching family history because I realized there were so many things I wanted to ask her, and I would never get the chance to. And one of them was about her German heritage that she was really proud of. And I just felt like I didn't write anything down. I didn't ask her questions. So I scraped up enough money to buy an Ancestry.com account. And I taught myself over the next, what is it now, since 2007, 12 years, I guess, how to trace my family online. And I've learned a lot. So I started a website to teach other people how to do the same thing.
That's amazing that you say that because, and I want to dig deeper into your background too, like what you do outside of the online world. But like, I have tried to like do the Ancestry.com thing because I'm kind of like, it's like when you're the tech person, like everyone thinks because we work online that we know everything about computers and every website that was false. And like, so like like my mom one time, we got one of those DNA kits, right? And my dad got one. And
yes,
I tried to get on there and figure out how to start like in the commercial, it's like, ooh, I clicked a leaf and I knew that Alexander Hamilton was my second cousin, right? Like that's so stupid. That is not how it works. Like once you get in it, like you just so overwhelmed and confused. Like I couldn't figure it out. I gave up. I tapped out, right? So like that's what you kind of do, right?
Exactly. And I kind of compare it to that last scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark where they're in that big, like the warehouse with all the crates.
Yes.
So all the answers are in that big warehouse, but you would never know where to look unless you already knew where they are. So I just kind of teach people how to navigate the warehouse. That's
amazing. Like that, what a great, and that just shows like we were talking off air about how like, I'm like, no one's ever done anything like this. Like this is an amazing niche. And like, if you just keep figuring out things that you figured out how to do, you will eventually figure out how to start an online business. Like it's just going to happen. So, but tell us a little bit more about your background too. Like what's your actual background? What do you do for a living? Like what led, what's the nutshell version of how you ended up kind of where you are today?
Well, I am technically an attorney. I'd always like to admit it, but yes, I'm a lawyer. I realized pretty quickly out of law school that it was probably not a good fit for me. And I was really bummed out because you obviously spend a lot of time, a lot of money, blood, sweat, and tears to become an attorney only to realize, whoops, I made a mistake. But at that point, it's not easy to switch because of all the money and time and all of your experiences in this one area. But my mom heard you guys on a podcast, and I want to say, was it on Dave Ramsey? Were you on there?
I don't think so.
Were you on that one?
Maybe
you were on something that my mom heard.
Maybe somebody talked about us on Dave Ramsey. Maybe we need to look that up and see if that actually happened. Right.
It was something my mom heard, and I looked you guys up, and I started listening to your podcast like from the beginning. And truly, this sounds so sad, but I was so miserable that I would like cry on the way to work. But I would listen to you guys, and it made me feel better. Like I had hope there was something I could do eventually.
Wow.
Okay, well, good. That makes me feel better.
I thought you were crying because of it. Like, it made me cry. You all were so mean.
I know. I was like, oh no one has ever cried over our podcast before.
No, what you're saying is you hated going to work, but like this gave you hope that yes, there is.
It did. I probably said that in a weird way, but it was some of the only hope I felt like I had. Like, I really was down. I was like, I ruined my life. That sounds so dramatic, but I really just didn't know what I was going to do. But listening to you guys gave me an out, and I've just been kind of slowly working at it in bits and pieces and started to take it really seriously just this year.
Awesome. Yeah. And and I that's why we do this show though, like honestly, because I was there. Like I hated going to work. I had no hope after some horrible things that happened to us, or to me specifically at work. And like I was looking for something different because I felt the same way. Like, I went to college for this. I went to 2 master's degree programs to be a teacher and a coach and coach football. And
that's like not even anywhere near
what you did. Like, and I've been teaching for 9 years. So like to even think about switching was overwhelming. You know what I'm saying?
Like so many of the people listening right now, like there may be somebody listening in their car right now thinking, oh my goodness, this is me, And so I'm just so glad that you've taken the next steps and you're trying to overcome that.
You said something really interesting there. I kind of wrote a note here as you were telling your story. Like, you said you figured it out after you got out of law school, right? So like what pushed you into law school? Like did other people say, oh, you should be a lawyer because doctors and lawyers make money? Or like what even pushed you down that path in the first place?
Well, people did say, they always said I should go to law school. Then the common thinking for a long time was, you're a great writer, or you kind of like to argue, which I don't actually that much. And so you should go to law school. And honestly, being a lawyer isn't about writing, and I don't like confrontation. So not a good fit for me.
Yeah, it's so funny though how we get.
And I just think I can make money.
It's so funny how we get those things in our head though, right? Like one person one time says, "Man, you should be a lawyer," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm so lost in my life and I have no clue what I want to do, so I'll do that." And then you get to the end of it, and you're like, "That was not what I should have done 7 years ago. What the world told me to do."
Well, and that's what I did in high school. Like I was in the FBLA. I won an award at a competition about computers because, nerd. But anyway, I was like, I'll be in business and do something with computers.
So she went to be like a computer programmer and all this stuff, and then just wank opposite direction. You know what I'm saying? So but it's just so funny how common that story is that we find. Like almost everyone seems to come into the community and like, I thought this, someone told me this, so I did that, and now I don't want this anymore. Like that is such a common story of everybody, really, because none of us know what we're doing in our 20s. We're just kind of like, well, my advisor said, or my mom said, or my dad said, and then we end up looking up going, man, I wish I had looked in the mirror and said, what do you say? Right? And
exactly.
But you get a do-over now. You can do what you want. Like you totally have that freedom.
And I have to say, I am grateful I went to law school because I met my husband there, so I need to put that in. But I should have thought more about what day-to-day life is like as a lawyer, and is that a good fit?
What kind of law do you do?
Right now, I'm doing consumer bankruptcy law, Chapter 7, Chapter 13.
So it's all positive and sunshine and rainbows, it sounds like.
Very happy people. Nobody's ever crying. It's all not stressful at all.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, well, let's do what we can to change the narrative and get you away from bankruptcies.
So you wanted to be an attorney.
Wanted to be an attorney. Although attorneys do have a good racket. We were talking off air about how the lawyers do make crazy money because we have this trademark attorney, and if I look at his email in my inbox, he charges me somehow. He's got a retina scanner, and if you looked at the email, that'll be $5.95. What? And if I email him, I get a bill right back. It's like $39.24. It's just so silly. It's like they charge by the letter or something like that.
Yeah.
So
that certain types of attorneys can definitely get away with that kind of thing. I'll tell you my local county prosecutor job, though, I think they were offering maybe starting at $38 a year, which after law school is not that much money with the loan.
Sure.
So
right, that's like your monthly payment on your law school loan.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. So tell us a little bit more then. So we know why you want to get away from that job, but what are the positive benefits that you see Like if you can get this online business off the ground, flip the script, and change your life, what are the benefits you're wanting to get out of your online business?
Well, I want to build something that I can really be proud of. Everyone acts really impressed when they say you're a lawyer, but I'm not that proud of it. Not to sound bad, but I really want to build something that helps people that I can be proud of and have freedom over my life. Like, I'm kind of freedom obsessed. It makes me feel really panicky thinking about someone else being in charge of my time.
Me too. That drives me insane. Like, it's to the point where I drive Jocelyn crazy because she likes schedules. But like, I don't even like appointments, right? Like, other than these podcasts,
me too. I know.
No appointments. Like, you're not allowed to get on my calendar for any reason.
And I love appointments.
Jocelyn loves appointments.
As many appointments.
She likes her rich.
Yeah, I'm the Shane. My husband is a Jocelyn in our relationship. So.
And speaking of which, speaking of charging people for stuff, I always say that I'm going to charge people for wasting my time. So like, if I come to the doctor's office and I sit there for an hour, I'm going to send them a bill for my time.
That's amazing.
So, I want to do that too.
And this is a really on top, to piggyback off of that, what a worthy thing to be able to make sure that people can find out who they are, where they came from, and complete their story, right? Even think ahead to the place where it's man, I wish I'd asked all those questions. Well, now we can make sure those questions get answered and exist before it's too late,
Exactly. And it fills you with a sense of pride. And, if you go back far enough, really, we're pretty much all related. So it makes you think of the world in just a totally different way.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
That's an awesome mission.
Okay, so I'm actually a little bit obsessed with your business topic right now, and I'll tell you why. And I've mentioned this on the show before, but I'm a true crime nut. I love listening to true crime podcasts, and one of the things, I know this is really kind of weird, but anyway.
I think Jocelyn is planning her exit strategy. I'm just saying. Okay. She's listening to all these crime things oh, that's how that guy got away with it.
Well, and it does look a little suspicious. If something happens to you.
Her computer searches are putting her in jail if anything ever happens to me, I'm telling you.
That is not true, but I do like to look up information about serial killers and things like that. But anyway, so the reason, though, that I'm really obsessed with this ancestry information is because one of the cases that I follow, actually many of the cases that I follow, have been solved using DNA. People's family members who have submitted their information to police databases and stuff. So anyway, that got me thinking I don't really know that much about my family. So anyway, murder shows have gotten me thinking how I need to know more about my extended family.
Right. So she's been
I know the case you're talking about, I think.
So you may have a customer, not just a coach, on this call. I'm just saying you may be joining us. What's going on. So.
All right, so let's jump into what do you have so far? What does your site look like? Do you have anything for sale yet?
I don't have anything for sale, but I have a blog with probably, 15 to 20 posts, I think. I have an opt-in set up with the free ebook. I have a small social media following and a YouTube channel. And I have a mailing list with about 60 people on it.
That's awesome.
That's a great start.
Yeah, you've great. And so when did you start that actual blog?
I started the blog last year, but I didn't do much with it, just a few posts. And then this year, starting really only getting serious in January, even having a mailing list. So it's only been a few months.
Okay. How many people do follow you on social?
Instagram is a big one. That's for me, big 500 something.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
I really like Instagram, and people love pictures with genealogy, so it's a good format for that. For
sure. What about YouTube? Do you have any subscriber base?
I think 16, but I only have 4 videos, and one of them has 1,300 views.
Oh, wow. That's good. What was it about?
I did a video comparing the different options for family tree software. It's something you host on your own computer, just like any software that you track your own family tree.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. You could even do something it would be neat to have a video comparing what's it called? 23andMe and Ancestry.com, the big players or something like that.
Yes, I do want to do that. In fact, my dad just did an Ancestry DNA test, and I'm going to actually use
oh, yeah. Document the whole thing. Yes, document the whole thing. And right now you do not have an actual product created though, right? Or you do?
I don't have it up for sale. I've done the first part of a course that I wanted to release. It's about a 40-minute video.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
You're in good shape.
Yeah. So basically, we're just right now, like, it's a little backwards because you really want to get the product done first before you start blogging and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But it's okay. You caught it early enough where you're like, okay, I need something to sell, right? You do have an email, and you have an email list offer that's actually converting, because to get 60 emails off of 15 to 20 blog posts in such a short amount of time is a really good indicator. Like, to pick up $500.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Like, even to get like views on YouTube, right? Like, that's all really, that's really like signs point to yes, right? That you're moving.
Yeah, I'm excited about all that.
Okay. All right. So basically, infrastructure wise, you kind of are doing this. Now, let me ask you a follow-up question. You said you did a video about comparing this software. Like is your product just how to research, or does it focus like on something like Ancestry.com, like how to use Ancestry.com?
Well, how to research is basically telling people how to use each of these websites, because they're these big databases, but there's not really great instructions on how to use them. So I do different posts and courses about each one, because people have different preferences of what they like.
Exactly. So you might have in your membership, you might say, well, here's the Ancestry.com how to use it course. Here's the 23andMe course. Here's this other software that you can manage by I'm sure there's more of these like out there, right? So
that's the part one course I've done is a course on how to use familysearch.org, which is like the Ancestry.com, but it's free.
Oh, that's interesting. Do they have DNA and all that stuff, or no?
It doesn't offer DNA, but they have just as many sources as Ancestry.com.
Gotcha.
And it's completely free to use. So I just wanted to teach people
that's
how to
amazing.
use it. I almost prefer it.
Awesome. So you've got it. So your course could even show people how to do this right from that. So it's like you don't have to convince people to buy these softwares. You're like, no, there's a free one. Just come here. Let me show you how to do it. Like that's a powerful way to train people, is like if you can get them in. Like we had a guy on the podcast just like 4 years ago, but he taught people how to go to Disney for free by credit card points, right? So he never. Awesome. I know he didn't have to sell anything though. He just had to get them to sign up for the cards, and then he showed them a free course how to use it, or he sold them a course how to do that. So like it wasn't like he had to sell them anything. He just had to convince them to do it, and that's kind of like what you're doing too.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, the only kind of flag for me is, like showing people nuts and bolts of how to use software, because they change things a lot. So I'm wondering if maybe we can find a way to make it more evergreen. Yeah,
like it would be nice if there was like a course that was like, okay, here's the general thing how to do this. Forget what software you're using, right? And like here's the things you have to search for, and then also you had like the individual ones like that you could update later, but you at least had the core thing that was like, these are the first 5 steps to researching your genealogy, period. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's what I've done with the blog post. There's a difference between like the software, which is just like where you store your information, and the websites where you can actually research.
Gotcha.
So that's why I was doing it more specific. And the websites don't change that much, which is why I was going to do the courses on those, because that's just research, and that's like going to the library.
Exactly. And all you have to do, if you're going to go that route, like I got a buddy that does his name's Joe, and he has this website called Learn Scrivener Fast, right? And he teaches he's a buddy, that's a friend of mine. He does like he does this piece of software that changes every once in a while, right? But he just puts it into his promotional calendar, and he's like, no, it's awesome when they change something. I get to promote that I made a video on how to do the change. So it's like almost like a new excuse to sell things to people. You know what I'm saying? So
that's been a good way for me to think of content too.
Exactly. Okay.
All right. So you have a great start, and you have some people interested. You have some content going on. You're on social media. Like, you're doing a lot of things right, which is awesome. But tell us something that is like holding you back. Maybe it's like a fear. Maybe it's a mindset issue that is just kind of slowing you down a little bit.
Fear of charging people, which I know is really common, which is probably why I've been blogging and, making content and not jumping into creating a product, because I'm kind of procrastinating jumping in and charging people.
Like, why are you afraid to charge people? Like, what are you afraid they're going to do?
I'm not afraid to charge people. I don't like I said, I don't really like conflict. I don't want to deal with people saying, how dare you charge for this, essentially. I know I just need to get over it, but...
You're a lawyer. You should be the most used person. Like lawyers charge for. We've already talked about this. Like lawyers charge for everything. You know what I'm saying? And like, have you had negative experiences like that though? Like as a lawyer, like for example.
Every lawyer.
Yeah, because
they think everything should be free.
Yeah, you're a bankruptcy lawyer. You're literally charging people to go bankrupt. Like that's what bankruptcy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Hey, I'm bankrupt. All right, that'll be $500 to file your bankruptcy, right? Like, I'm bankrupt. You don't get it, right? Like, so maybe you're just scarred from being like.
I probably am. Being a lawyer is very scarring. Not to sound dramatic again, but.
It does. It gets the mindset in. Like, this is common though. Like, I don't know why it is that we all are like maybe it's just because we know so much about the thing. We think, why would anyone pay for this? Right? Like you've been so deep down the, ancestry research, model, every nook and cranny that, someone's birth certificate could hide around. Right. So it's like, why would anyone pay for this? Why should I charge for this?
And there are other people out there like me who are listening to crime podcasts and think, hey, I need to know more about my family. Like I've heard of a couple of industry websites, but I don't know anything about it. And so I think sometimes what happens is that people like you, who are researchers most likely, and this is the way that I am too. I like to research things. I like to go and figure out what all's going on. And I think that you assume that other people already know the same things that you know. Is that part of it, do you think?
Yeah, I don't want people to say, well, this is obvious. Why would you charge anyone for this? Because I've been doing it so long, I just think of it as being obvious.
It is obvious, but it's almost like disconnecting the price from you. We talked to someone else about this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. Like you're not really charging people for you. You're not even really charging people for the answer. You're charging people for a shortcut. It's almost like a toll road. Like if the toll road will get you there in 5 minutes, but traffic takes you 2 hours, you're going to pay to go on the toll road. Right? Because it's quicker.
Right.
And like, that's
Definitely.
that's what we're really charging for. Like, I mean, I say this all the time and I say it to anybody in the community or out of the community. Like if you go, we have 55 total videos or something like that inside of the Flip Your Life Blueprint, our course area, right? Like you could probably find every bit of that information somewhere online, right? But it will not be in order. It will not tell you to do this, then this, then this, then this. You're going to spend countless hours of frustration in your life trying to figure it all out, right? Or you just get on the fast ramp, right? We're like the fast pass line at Disney, right? You can go wait in line for 3 hours for the flight of passage, or you can go over here and get in the fast pass line and just jump on the ride, right? And like that's what you're really charging for. So like, don't even think about it as you're charging them or that you're charging them for your content. You're like giving them the thing they want as fast as possible. Like, for example, let's go back to your original inspiration for this business, right? Like your grandmother passed away, right? And you wished you had known more about her German heritage, right? So like someone else is sitting there right now and they're looking at their grandparent and they're like, man, they could be gone. And if I don't get this done now and figure this out, they may not even know where they come from, right? So at that point, it's a matter of hurrying and getting people to where they need to be faster, and you're helping them do that. Like it's kind of like a mission then and not a business, right? Like I have to get people to do this so that they can get there faster. Okay. And if you can tie your pricing to that result and to that mission, it removes you from it. You don't have to feel bad about it anymore.
I just thought of an example for this. It reminds me of sort of like a tour guide. So years ago, almost 15 years ago, when Shane and I got married, we went to Niagara Falls, and Niagara Falls is a state park. Like you can go check it out by yourself. Certainly there are a lot of different activities you can do there, but you can go and look at the falls by yourself. But instead we chose to do a tour, and we paid someone to take us around and tell us information. Remember that crazy guy who said like okie dokie on the bus?
Okie dokie. Yes. You get everywhere we went. I do remember that. Okie dokie. Come on, guys. Okie dokie. Get on the boat.
Yeah. And so, like, we paid for that tour because we wanted somebody else's expertise. We wanted them to know where to go. We didn't want to have to wade through all the information, looking everything up on our own. Like, we wanted someone just to take us to all the best places.
Yeah, we did this out in San Diego too one time. We're total tourist nerds when we're out traveling. But it's like when we're in a town, Like, we want to see the most things that we can see as fast as possible, and we just can't find it all by ourselves if we're only going to be there for like 2 days. So we took a tour in San Diego, and they took us all over the place, and we got to see the big mountain with the cross on top of it. We got to see Balboa Park, all these other things, and like one time in New York, we were only there for a limited time because we were watching a basketball game. UK was playing Duke, and we said, how can we tour the city as fast as possible? So we got on a boat, and they took us around the outside of Manhattan. And we just went around the island, and they just pointed everything out to us. But, like, that's what you're doing. You're like, you don't have time. You need to listen to me. Trust me, this is the best thing for you. And it is my mission to make sure that you don't miss this moment with your family. If you can, and that's what you charge for, right?
That's a really good way of putting it.
It's an obligation, basically. You have to charge for this to get them there faster, or they won't be able to do it.
And the thing that you have to remember, too, is that, 90 to 95 out of 100 people are going to be like, yeah, no, I don't want that. Like, I can find that for free online, or I can figure it out.
Right.
You want to worry about the 5 to 10 people who are like, yeah, this is awesome, and I can't wait for you to show me what you know.
I'll tell you, this is the last thing we'll say about pricing fears, because this is really common. Like, we had it. You have it. Everybody listening at some point is going to be like, man, I have to charge for something, right? And you almost feel guilty about it, right?
Yeah.
But here's what we've learned. Now, we've probably had, I bet you that Jocelyn and I have had at least probably 4,000 to 5,000 transactions over all of our businesses in the last so many years, right? Like, literally, like, sold that many products to people, like, all over in different, like, elementary librarian, youth history teachers, football coaching, Flip Lifestyle. Thousands of people have actually bought something from us. But we've over that same time, we've actually helped some people. We've given them like free resources. We've, hooked them up because we felt bad for them because they had a really bad situation, whatever. And what we have learned is that 90% of the time, the people who pay attention, and they will actually follow through. The people who go and get the freebie, they don't, because they just don't value it. So it's almost like if you don't charge them, they won't take action and learn about their family, If you just give it away for free, they're just piddling. They're not actually like trying. So, you actually help people when you charge them, because you assign, they give you their hard-earned money. They will now go take action and get the value out of the product you sold them. So just make sure that it's actually good for people to pay for something.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So that seems a little bit overwhelming. Like, do you think that helped you?
No, definitely. I agree completely with what you're saying. And in fact, I know a little bit from being a lawyer, people who do free consultations, the people, that don't end up being good clients. But if you charge, even if it's $5 to meet with someone, it ends up usually working out better.
100%. Yeah. Because both parties are invested and they care about each other. You know what I'm saying? And they also care about getting the result that they're both like entering into the agreement for. So it makes more sense. Right? Yeah. We say this all the time too. Every person we've ever given a free membership to Flip Your Life for a hardship or anything, I can never think of one person that actually went through, like, we will help you. We feel bad. Do this. We're trying to do something for you. And they never follow through. So like, there came a point where we just said, we're not doing this anymore. Like, people are going to be charged or they're not going to do it,
Exactly.
Okay, so we've kind of talked a little bit about your fear. Now let's talk about actual business strategies. What do you need help with right now?
Well, I think I know what you're going to say, but I keep going back and forth with whether to just start out with a course and try to make it apply to as many people as I can, or just go ahead and do a membership right out of the gate.
Well, you know what we're about to say.
I know. That's why I don't even know why I asked. So
all right, I
bought the Buddy Boss theme. I'm ready to go.
Very nice. So she knows what's going on. Honestly, though, like, that's a good question. Like, there's very limited or rare chances that we will say just do a course. Like, if you had 500,000 people following you for some reason because you had something go viral, right? Like, that actually does make sense to do. If you have a huge audience, like a massive audience, it can make a lot of sense to have like a $500 course and go ahead and try and sell it, right? Because you can make a lot of money up front really fast, okay? But when you're starting out with your own following that's like good, niche, you got a few people follow, you got 500 people on Instagram, 60 people on a list, it makes a lot of sense to start the membership right away, because you can start recurring revenue. Like, every time you sell, like if you sell 20 of those people, on that list right now at $50 a month for your help. And also too, studying you've been doing this since what, 2007? Like studying your genealogy is not something you do. You take a course and do it in a week. It's something that you basically get into and you do it forever. Like that's a perfect membership model. Like, well, how do I do this? Well, how do I go to the next level? How do I go deeper? How do I find this? I'm having trouble finding my great grandmother. Like, where do I look? Like, they're going to need that support that a membership can only provide, right? And if you sell 20 of them right away, you've got $1,000 a month. You sell 20 more, you got another $1,000. I mean, you start building an actual sustainable income right away, right? So I think that you could probably go ahead and just launch the membership straight away and just sell it as like let me help you research your family. Like you can get the course inside to get started, and then every week I will do office hours where you can come and tell me where you're stuck or watch the next step. Or you could even design the course in a way like month 1 on Ancestry.com. Here's what you got to do. Month 2, because you got to go in and set all that stuff up and make your links and your connections.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, so you could actually just set it up like a 12-month program. Like 1 year from now, you will know everything that could ever be known about your family tree. Right?
Right.
And then people get obsessed with it. They stay with it. And I'd say like Jocelyn loves talk, like our personal assistant who works at our house. Jocelyn got her listening to crime podcasts. So that's what she listens to while she's working. And like, that's all they talk about when they're not talking about like what's going on around the house. Right. So like they're, like I'd say these people like will geek out together when they, find, some artifact of ancient yore or something like that, whatever. So like it seems like a community would really bind together around this product.
I really don't think that there's a wrong answer to this question. I mean, if you want to create the course and then later create a community, I think that's fine.
This is one of the rare instances too, Jocelyn, where I think that like you could sell both. Like sometimes we say don't sell your courses outside of your membership, but like Jocelyn was like saying like, well, what if somebody really just wants the Ancestry course and they don't really care about talking to anybody else?
Or if I just want a worksheet or like a little thing that shows me the best way to go about looking all this stuff up. I mean, I might want to buy that and I don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you could almost offer both. Like you could have each individual platform could have its own course, but all of them could be in the membership if they wanted to come in. And like, that's for the people that want to geek out. Cause I know people that are a member of like, all of them. Like, I got my DNA from me and my ancestor. I wanted to compare them, right? They get like really into
that's how I am.
Right, exactly. So there's if you exist, there are 105 other people somewhere like you. You just have to get them all to join your membership so you can help them geek out better.
Yes, exactly.
How big is this audience? Like how many people actually like use Ancestry.com or whatever?
I think the last time I looked, they had either 6 or 7 million members.
See, that's
a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Like you only need like 100 of them. You know what I'm saying? Or like,
I know.
Like to replace your lawyer income is probably going to be a little more, but like, I mean, 200 people paying $50 a month is 120 a year. So, I mean, it's like, that's a lot of money, And also too, like when you can target a big, like you can go into Facebook and probably target Ancestry.com followers, right? Like you can literally show people who've liked the Ancestry.com's Facebook page an ad that says, I will teach you how to use Ancestry.com. Right? And then they go and they get the thing. And have you ever thought about like, I know you're blogging, but like, have you ever thought about doesn't this sound like Crime Junkie, Jocelyn, though? Like, what if it was like a podcast where you interviewed someone like who found a really great story from their like history? You know what I'm saying? Like, or you talked about these
that's
things,
a good idea.
or these things, like you could even read case studies of where people have discovered like crazy things like that. Like, it seems like this could be like a cool.
They're in the news now too, more and more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the Ancestry DNA and all the crimes that they're solving.
Absolutely.
You could do a conspiracy theory episode too. Like, is the government really just using Ancestry.com to register my DNA? I want to know that.
I would love that.
Tinfoil hat on. What's my tinfoil hat going at?
My husband always calls me conspiracy theorist, so he's going to love when he hears this episode.
That's amazing. So, like, basically, circle back around though. Like, like you could. I always recommend that people think at least about how they could turn it into a membership in the beginning, because small lists can make big income if you have a recurring revenue model. Small lists do not make a big income when you're just selling courses. I don't care if they're $1,000 a piece, right? Like if you've got 100 people, you might make 10 grand, but like what happens next?
That's it.
you know? So you'd rather find people, get them to join the thing, and I get them to go. Okay?
Yeah. So do you have an idea about what I should charge for something like that, like a membership course for this idea?
What does Ancestry.com charge? I know they have monthly products.
They have tiers, and it's annually or biannually. And I think the very cheapest one's like $150
a year.
So
a year.
That's a year, but it's just for the library. Like, it doesn't teach you how to use it. It's literally just an expensive library card.
Right. What's like their more middle tier option or whatever?
$200 or $250 a year, I think.
Well, I mean, if you just think about it this way, like let's say that middle tier is their bestseller, which it usually is. That's why it's in the middle. Okay. If I divide 250 by 12, that kind of works out to like $20 a month. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably a good starting place, only because people are paying for the access to the research for $20 a month. It only makes sense they're willing to pay $20 a month for something. So it's like, why not just charge what they're already charging to teach them how to use the tool? Because like the answer to that question is, how much are people willing to pay? Well, we know they're willing to pay about $20 a month. Let's start there and then see how high we can push it, basically.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Just let the market tell you, hey, someone who's interested in Ancestry.com information is willing to pay $20 a month. Therefore, they would probably be willing to pay $20 a month to learn how to use the stupid thing they already bought.
Yeah.
All right, Evan, it has been such a fun conversation today. I feel like we've just kind of scratched the surface, but unfortunately we are out of time. So we always ask our guests, what is one thing that you plan to take action on based on what we talked about today?
Well, I need to focus on finishing up the courses I already have in progress so I can put them into my membership site and get that out for people and start having that recurring income.
All right. What an amazing action step. I know Evan's going to get out there and take action and make that happen and grow her online business. And we would love to help you grow your online business. So you heard an amazing idea for an online business today. You know, Jocelyn and I, before the show started, said, you know, we've done hundreds of these episodes, and that is such a unique niche. And you have a unique idea. You have a unique niche that you can get into if you will just take action and make it happen. If you need help researching your idea, we have courses inside of the Flip Your Life community that can help you pick what you're going to do online. All you have to do is go to flippedlifestyle.com/flipyourlife, and you can learn all about how you can join the Flip Your Life community. We have plans starting for as little as $19 a month to get you all the coaching, community support, and content you need to get started. That's flippedlifestyle.com/flipyourlife. We would love to see you inside. All right, guys, that is all the time that we have for today, but we like to close every episode of the Flip Lifestyle podcast with a Bible verse. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration, motivation, and business advice from the Bible, and normally we share a verse with you, but our guest, Evan, had a verse that she wanted to share with you today. So, Evan, take it away.
Yes, this is from Matthew chapter 5, 14 to 16, and it goes, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. And I picked that, and it goes back to what you said about having an obligation to using your talents to help people. So that's what I try to keep in mind with my online business.
Ooh, I got chills. That's a great Bible verse. That was an awesome Bible verse, Evan. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, make sure you get out there. Make sure you take action. Make sure you let your light shine and go out there and help the people that you were meant to help through your online business. Until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
You're scarred from being a lawyer because I got this trademark attorney. And I can't even eat. I could tweet him and he would charge me.
If we send them like an email,
I get a $33.90 bill. That's ridiculous. Like it's like, and if it's a long email, it's like $60.
And I'm like, we need to start doing this.
Right? Exactly. Like, can we charge by the tweet? Okay.
Okay. Let me